Over the past 2 months, Russia has amassed more than 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border, and everyone is waiting to see if President Vladimir Putin will attempt an invasion. But there's another reason to pay close attention to this area. It's one of the most important wheat-producing regions on the planet. And no matter where you are in the world, wheat is everywhere, including in the things we buy every single week. So what could an escalation in Ukraine mean for the global grain market and all of us consumers? Let's go find out. Okay, let's go back to that green map for a second. Look at these shaded regions that show the wheat-producing land in Russia and Ukraine. The greener the shade, the more wheat that's produced. As you can see, this area is extremely productive. I mean, there's a reason why Soviet symbols and flags and art featured images of wheat. The land's mineral-rich black soil and mild conditions make it perfect for growing grains. Although the Soviet Union's system of collective farming was inefficient and led to shortfalls, things have changed a lot in recent decades. With a shift toward more market-driven economies, Russia and Ukraine have unleashed their agricultural power. Together, the two countries account for about 1/3 of global wheat exports. And top importers include Egypt, Turkey, Indonesia, and Pakistan, according to the US Department of Agriculture. Ukraine is also a top exporter of other important staples like corn and barley. And most of those products travel to other countries by ship via the Black Sea. So now that you know just how much wheat these countries grow, let's talk about food prices. Even just the threat of conflict has driven wheat prices higher, and traders are watching the region closely. So is WSJ Commodities reporter Will Horner.
If wheat prices rise by what some analysts are suggesting, then yeah, that means wheat prices everywhere going up. It potentially means food prices everywhere rising.
At this point, no one knows how things will play out. But because Ukraine's most productive wheat regions are close to Russia and areas controlled by Russian-led separatists, analysts are pricing out a few different possibilities. If Russia launches an all-out invasion of Ukraine, a worst-case scenario that Russia has denied planning for, some say prices could easily double. That's because Ukraine's production could be disrupted, and at the same time, Russian exports could be sanctioned. But some analysts say even a smaller scale incursion could push prices 10 to 25% higher.
Yeah, anything that affects Ukraine's agricultural infrastructure, and that certainly includes ports, is likely to have a big, impact on prices.
Ukraine already lost territory and ports back when Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, and many fear that President Putin could attempt a similar invasion. For example, Russia could make a play for this territory, which Putin has referred to by its Tsarist-era term Novorossiya, or New Russia. Some of it is already controlled by Russian-led separatists, and if Russia sought to expand here, it would choke Ukraine's economy by cutting it off from those key Black Sea trade routes. Obviously, there is a lot at stake here for Ukraine. But what could a conflict mean for the rest of the world in terms of wheat? Global food prices have already surged, and they're adding to the economic hardship that many people face due to the pandemic, especially in developing countries. Andrei Sizov, a Black Sea grains analyst, said a further spike in prices could make matters much worse for everyone.
It obviously will be negative for the whole world. Prices will go everywhere and for all consumers, but obviously the poorer the country, the bigger will be the hit to the country.
And higher food prices could even lead to unrest in some parts of the world.
For example, in 2011, we saw that Arab Spring. After, in 2010, Russia banned its wheat exports. If we see a serious disruption this season and prices will go up by 20, 30% or even higher, these countries, MENA countries, that will be a very big problem for them.
Food prices aren't the only thing at stake if a conflict breaks out in Ukraine. We could see huge global disruptions when it comes to energy and metals and even cybersecurity. My colleagues at the Wall Street Journal are covering all the developments over in Ukraine, so check out WSJ.com for the latest. And if you learned something from this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. I'll see you next time.